Picture this. It's 2012. A 25-year-old named Ryan is sitting in the break room at his first real job, eating a $14 lunch because he deserved it. After a long morning, he's making $48,000 a year. More money than he's ever seen in his life. He's got a new car payment, a nice apartment, a closet full of clothes, and a bank account that somehow never seems to grow past $800 before something comes up. He's not worried, though. He's 25. There's time. There's always time. Ryan is now 38. He makes $87,000 a year. He has a 401k he's been meaning to look at more carefully. He has a car payment, a bigger apartment, a bigger closet, and a bank account that somehow never seems to grow past $2,400 before something comes up. The number got bigger. The feeling didn't change. And if you asked Ryan what went wrong, he couldn't tell you. 'Cause nothing went dramatically wrong. He didn't make catastrophic decisions. He didn't gamble. He didn't blow money on anything insane. He just never learned the rules. And nobody around him knew them either. So he did what everyone else did. He earned more. He spent more. He stayed exactly in place financially, while the calendar moved forward without his permission. This video is the conversation Ryan never got to have at 25. The one that would have changed everything. Not because the information is complicated. It isn't. But because nobody teaches it. Not your school, not your parents, who were probably running the same playbook without realizing it. Not your employer. And definitely not the companies selling you things. And today, we're going through everything I wish someone had sat me down and explained clearly at 25. With the actual numbers, the actual math, and the actual stakes, so you can make the decisions that compound in your favor, instead of against you. Let's start with the most expensive lesson most people learn too late. The cost of waiting is not what you think. Most 25-year-olds think retirement is a problem for their future self, something to deal with at 35 or 40 or whenever life slows down a little. Here's what that decision actually costs. If you invest $300 a month starting at age 25, at a 7% average annual return, the historical average of a broad index fund, by age 65, you have approximately $798,000. If you wait until 35 to start, just 10 years later, investing the same $300 a month at the same return, you have approximately $379 by age 65. Same monthly amount, same return, 10 years of waiting. The cost, one things up dollars missed in a touch, will retire with more money than the 35-year-old who puts $600 a month in for the same number of years. Starting earlier beats contributing more, every time. And here's the part that makes this hit differently. $300 a month at 25-year-old who puts $300 a month into a low-cost index fund and doesn't touch it will retire with more money than the 35-year-old who puts $600 a month in for the same number of years. Starting earlier beats contributing more, every time. And here's the part that makes this hit differently. $300 a month at 25 is roughly $10 a day. For most people in their mid-20s earning any kind of real income, that number is genuinely achievable. It's the streaming subscriptions you forgot you had. It's 2 fewer restaurant meals per week. It's the $14 lunch Ryan buys every day in the break room. The question is never whether you can afford to invest. The question is whether you understand what not investing is actually costing you. A lifestyle trap that catches almost everyone. Here's the pattern that quietly derails more financial lives than any single bad decision. You get a raise, your lifestyle expands to match it. You get another raise, your lifestyle expands again. Your income grows steadily for a decade, and your savings rate stays exactly the same, close to zero, because every increase in what you earn gets absorbed immediately by an increase in what you spend. Economists call this lifestyle inflation. Most people just call it living better, and it feels like progress. The apartment is nicer, the car is newer, the restaurants are better, but the bank account tells a different story. The average American in their late 20s saves less than 4% of their income. The average American in their 30s, earning significantly more, saves less than 5%. The number went up. The percentage barely moved. Here's the trap. Your needs don't actually scale with your income, what you genuinely need. To live a comfortable, enjoyable life doesn't cost twice as much at $80,000 as it did at $40,000. But what people spend scales almost perfectly with what they earn, not because they need to, but because the spending happens automatically, by default, without a deliberate decision being made. The single most powerful financial move a 25-year-old can make isn't finding a higher-paying job. It's deciding right now, before the raises come, what percentage of every paycheck goes directly to savings and investment, and treating that number as fixed, regardless of what happens to the total. If you decide at 25 that 15% of every paycheck goes to your future before anything else, and you keep that commitment as your income grows, you will accumulate wealth at a rate that shocks most people. Not because 15% is a large number. It isn't. Because you never got used to spending it. The people who build real wealth aren't the ones who earn the most. They're the ones who decided early what percentage of their income was not available for lifestyle, and never renegotiated that number with themselves. What your car is actually costing you. The average monthly car payment in the United States right now is $735. For a new vehicle, most 25-year-olds treat a car payment as a fixed cost of adulthood, as inevitable as rent or utilities. It isn't. It's a choice. And it's one of the most expensive choices most young people make, without running any numbers at all. Here's what $735 a month invested from age 25 to age 65 at a 7% return produces $1,966,000. Not $200,000, not $500,000, nearly $2 million. That's the actual price of a lifetime of new car payments. Not just the cars themselves, not just the interest on the loans, the opportunity cost of what that money could have become if it was working for you instead of for a car dealership. The math on buying a reliable used car with cash versus financing a new vehicle every 5 years represents hundreds of thousands of dollars in lifetime wealth over a 40-year working career. That's not a small thing. That's retirement security. That's optionality. That's the difference between a financial life with margin and one without it. The debt they don't warn you about. Student loans get discussed constantly. Credit card debt gets discussed. What almost never gets discussed clearly is how interest rates actually work against you in real time. The average credit card interest rate right now is 21.6%. Let that number sit for a moment. If you carry a $5,000 balance on a credit card at 21.6% and make only the minimum payment, you will make payments for over 17 years. and pay more than $6,800 in interest alone. On top of the $5,000 you originally spent, you will pay $11,800 debt for $5,000 worth of purchases. And the purchases are gone. They were experiences, meals, clothes, things you no longer have. The bill for them will still be arriving in 2041. No investment available to a regular investor consistently returns 21.6% annually, which means credit card debt with a balance is mathematically guaranteed to make you poorer faster than almost any investment can make you richer. The financial priority for any 25-year-old carrying high-interest debt is not complicated. Pay it off before investing anything beyond an employer match. Not because investing isn't important. It is, but because you cannot outinvest a 21% interest rate. The emergency fund nobody takes seriously. Most financial advice tells you to save 3 to 6 months of expenses as an emergency fund. Most 25-year-olds hear that, think, yeah, I should do that, and continue having essentially nothing saved for emergencies. Here's what that actually costs when something goes wrong. The average unexpected car repair, $1,200. The average emergency room visit without hitting a deductible, $1,500. The average cost of 1 month of unexpected unemployment, $3,500. Without an emergency fund, each of these events gets charged to a credit card at 21.6% interest and becomes a debt that follows you for months or years. One emergency doesn't just cost what it costs what it costs, plus interest, plus the financial stress that leads to more poor decisions, plus the disruption to whatever saving and investing momentum you'd built. With an emergency fund, the same events are inconvenient. They cost what they cost. You pay them and move on. The emergency fund isn't about the money itself. It's about what happens to every other financial decision you make. When you're operating without a safety net, 3 months of expenses. In a high-yield savings account earning 4% or more, before anything else, except the employer match. That's the starting point. Not glamorous, not exciting, just the foundation that makes everything else work. The employer match, free money with an expiration date. If your employer offers a 401k match and you are not contributing enough to capture the full match, you are turning down part of your compensation. That's not a metaphor. That's literally what's happening. If your employer matches 50% of contributions up to 6% of your salary, and you earn $50,000, the full match is worth $1,500 per year. If you contribute less than 6%, you don't receive the full match. That money doesn't go somewhere else. It disappears. It was part of your compensation package, and you left it on the table. Over a 40-year career, $1,500 per year invested at 7% returns approximately $320,000. You walked away from $320,000 in retirement wealth, not because the market failed, not because you made a bad investment, because you contributed 3% instead of 6% to your 401k. The employer match is the single highest guaranteed return available to most workers. It's an instant 50%, sometimes 100%, return on the contributed dollars before any market growth is factored in. There is no investment on earth that provides a guaranteed 50 to 100% return in year one. Capturing the full employer match is not optional. It is the floor. The first thing, before anything else. The thing about income that nobody tells you. Here's a belief that holds more people back financially than almost any other. The idea that their income is fixed, that they earn what they earn, The raises come when they come, and the trajectory is largely outside their control. It isn't. The median raise for staying at the same job in the United States is approximately 3 to 4% per year. The median salary increase for switching to a new job is approximately 10 to 20%. The same skills, the same experience. A different employer, 2 to 5 times the salary increase. And here's what most people don't understand about income growth. It compounds through the savings rate. The 25-year-old who grows their income from $48,000 to $75,000 over 5 years, while keeping their lifestyle at $48,000 equivalent spending, has created $27,000 per year of automatic wealth building. Not through discipline, not through sacrifice, through the simple decision to not automatically expand their lifestyle with every increase in income. Income is not fixed. Lifestyle is not fixed. The combination of growing one while holding the other creates the financial gap. That wealth is built in. The number that changes everything. Here's the most important concept in personal finance, and also the one most rarely explained clearly. Your savings rate, the percentage of your income you save and invest, determines when you can stop working. Far more than your income does. Someone saving 5% of their income needs to work approximately 66 years before they can retire. Someone saving 15% needs approximately 17 years. Someone saving 70% needs approximately 8 years. These are not motivational projections. They are mathematical outcomes. The number of years until financial independence is determined almost entirely by your savings rate, not your income, not your investment returns, not your luck. The person earning $50,000 and saving 30% reaches financial independence in approximately the same time frame as the person earning $150,000 and saving 10%. This is the number Ryan never knew at 25. He thought building wealth was about earning more. It's about the gap between what you earn and what you spend. Widen that gap, and you build wealth. Narrow it, and you stay exactly where you are, regardless of how the income grows. The 25-year-old who understands this is playing a completely different game than the one who doesn't. Not a harder game, not a more sacrificial game, a smarter one. A game with a finish line, instead of a treadmill. What Rand does differently now. Ryan is 38. The best time to learn these things was 25. The second best time is now. He can't go back and start investing at 25. But he can start today, and starting today at 38, with the compounding window still open for nearly 30 years, still produces outcomes that would have seemed impossible to the version of him eating a $14 lunch in the break room 13 years ago. He bumps his 401k contribution to capture the full employer match. That's the $50 in free money per year he was leaving on the table. He builds a 3-month emergency fund over the next 6 months, 500 zivits a month into a high-yield savings account. When it's funded, that 500 zivy dollars moves to his investment account. He pays off the credit card balance, not of PP time 1, and to a $22%. Dimyeth pows $40 a month into a high-yield savings account. When it's funded, that 500 Zivi Nuller. Now go to investing. It drives his current car for 3 more years instead of trading it in. The 400 Zivi dollars he would have added in car payment upgrades goes to his brokerage account instead. Total additional monthly investment from these 4 decisions: approximately $1,080 per month. At 7% over 27 years, to age 65, that's approximately $981,000. Not from a dramatic income change, not from winning anything, from 4 specific decisions made on a Tuesday afternoon that redirected money that was already leaving his account into a direction that built something instead of nothing. The conversation you deserved at 25. Nobody handed you a manual. The school system didn't cover this. The culture around money, spend, upgrade, finance, repeat, actively works against building it. The people who end up financially secure aren't smarter. They aren't luckier. They just got the information earlier. Or they sought it out. Or they ran into someone who sat them down and explained the actual rules. You're getting that conversation now. The rules are simple. Start early. Save a real percentage before lifestyle takes it. Keep fixed costs low, especially the car. Eliminate high-interest debt before investing beyond the match. Capture every dollar of free employer money. Build the emergency foundation. Grow your income intentionally. And define what enough looks like before the lifestyle creep decides for you. None of this requires a finance degree. None of it requires a high income to start. All of it requires starting. The 25-year-old who applies these principles will look back at 45 the way Ryan wishes he could, not with regret about the time that passed, but with genuine satisfaction at what the time built. The finish line exists. It just requires knowing where it is before you start running. Now you know.